Hello and good morning, welcome. So today, day three already of making some embellishments to go in our journals. Remember, I'm using up, it's up to you if you want to use yours up, but I'm using up all my scraps and leftover pieces because I'm fed up of them hanging about. So today we're going to make some Slim Jim notebooks, okay? I have got some scrapbook papers, so you know they're quite firm and they're double-sided, just because it works best for me. Now if you haven't got any thicker double-sided craft scrapbook papers, don't worry, you can use just ordinary paper and fold it in half and glue the two pieces together, and that will make it a lot firmer than normal paper, and you can get away with using those. The other thing that I've got to hand, a load of coffee dyed paper strips, and it's the strips that you want. So when you're cutting off like the edges of your pages, you'll end up with lots of strips like this. So save those, and we're going to use them today. Now the first thing that I want to do is I want to use my border punch to punch across this top edge. I might be cutting these down to size, and as you can see I've got all sorts of different widths and lengths of papers. It doesn't matter, we don't need to have measurements, but because I want to just border punch just this top edge up here, I'm going to do that off camera, because otherwise, you know, it'll rock, because I'm only on my little table downstairs in my living room, so that I can craft away this afternoon watching the TV, making myself a few of these. Alright, I'll be back in a second once I've punched these. So after punching these, I noticed that when you do one punch, it punches out just these three little pieces here, and I thought, well actually that makes about, hang on, if I can pick one up, that makes about the right width for me. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim off the excess. Of course you can do this on your paper trimmer, you don't have to do it by hand like I'm doing. Alright, so there we go. So we've got our little Slim Jim notebook covers. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold over the top edge. And again, I'm not measuring it, I'm just, you know, eyeballing it. So can you see how much I'll get it in shot. That's how much I turned it over. So I might do some longer than that, I might do some shorter than that. So I would then just ink up the edges somewhat. It just makes them stand out a little bit more, and more so on these that are sort of self-coloured, just makes them stand out a little bit. So now I need to look at my coffee paper strips. And I might need to trim these down for them to fit. But basically I just want a piece of coffee dyed paper folded in half, and then that will sit under there. Now I want to see a little bit of the background of this. Now it fits beautifully in there, but I'd like to see a little bit more of the background, so I would probably trim that down a touch. Couldn't find my scissors then. So as I say, this piece is already folded in half from a project that I'd done earlier, no doubt. Okay, and I'm going to sit one inside of the other. But we don't just want to leave it there. so I want different lengths. So the bottom one, oh, let's just check the length on me. Ah, you see. Oh, perfect fit. So that sort of fits to the bottom edge of this piece of paper, so that's brilliant. And then the next one I want slightly shorter. I said slightly shorter, Carol. Thank you. So to about there. I'm going to move these out the way in a minute so that you can see exactly what it is that I'm doing. A little bit shorter again. And a little bit shorter again. Right, so basically what I've done is that's the bottom one. It fits the length of the piece of card. The next one I folded over so that it's a little bit shorter, and the next one a little bit shorter than that, and the next one a little bit shorter than that. So I can either cut those off or rip those off. And if I do a firm enough crease, I should be able to rip that off to give it a nice textured edge. Same with this next piece here. So all I'm using is just 2 strips of paper. I want that one a little bit shorter again. So we've got this lovely layered effect. And then that will sit in there. Now at this point you can paper clip it, because I'm going to spin it over and I'm going to use my stapler to just go beyond that fold and staple it. Now you won't see it on that side because of it being heavily patterned. The reason why I do it this way is that's the flat edge of the staple and the folded edge is here on the inside, so you're not going to catch your fingers on that. And then I'm going to put a little dab of glue along the top edge of that piece of paper and fold that over. Just hold it down for a second or two. Probably need to hold it a bit more than a second or two just to make that glue hold. And we've made a little Slim Jim notepad. Now, as I said, you know, we're not creating beautiful masterpieces here. I'm not highly decorating them or anything like that. I'm just making the basic forms so that when it comes to putting them in my journal, I can then decorate it up to complement the rest of the journal, because it might be slightly different. If you want to decorate yours up, that's absolutely fine. I have these 2 long strips of coffee dyed paper here. Oh, 3. No, we only want 2, Carol. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it over. Fold it that way because we like the colour. But I'm not going to fold it right the way up to this edge. I'm going to fold it a little bit shorter. And then I'm going to do the same with this one. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit it on top so that it's shorter. And then I'm going to fold it over at the top where this other folded piece is. And then that back piece will be longer. That one. Yeah, that works. And then I can just chop off that little bit of excess at the bottom. It's all about using up these scraps. It's all about making something that's useful, that we can use in our journals at a later date, and then we can decorate them up as and when we need to. That's my 5 Slim Jim notepads done. I'm going to go off and go and make some more. So hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Hope you've been inspired to make some yourself, and I'll see you all real soon. Bye for now. Bye.